to our second episode of Projector Power Hour. If you're new here, we are doing the series twice a month where we answer all of your business questions. Nothing is off limits. You can ask me personal questions that you want help with and my insight on. You can ask me business, identity, mindset, whatever is called to you. We have a form below for you to submit your questions. So please click on that if you would like us to answer one of them. Our first episode was so well received that we were excited to get in the studio and record again today. So Brandy has curated several questions for me to answer on the fly. So let's do it.
Okay, I'm so excited to be back. All right, first question. Why do so many business owners say that they want to serve more people, but then sabotage their growth because they feel guilty for being paid for it?
Well, I don't think there's so many business owners that do this. I think this is definitely a healthcare specific business owner that feels because they're helping people heal or helping people transform their health that they feel bad to charge a premium for that or even to charge like market value for that. I think it all comes back to self-worth, self-beliefs about themselves, and feeling like they were taught or conditioned growing up that in order to help people, you shouldn't be paid for that. You should just help people because you're a good person. And while, yes, that's true, of course, we're all put on this earth to help one another. When you have gifts, talents, and things that are meant to be shared with the world, of course, you have to monetize them in order to actually help more people.
So good. And so if someone struggles with believing that, what would you suggest them to do to rewire that mindset?
One, figure out like where your original thought came from, where you shouldn't charge people or you should give away everything for free. Like, how was that ingrained in you? Did somebody influence you at a young age to think that? Did you grow up hearing things like that? Like, where did it really come from? Because once you know the source, then you could start to build a different belief system.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then we run into this, we see this often, that our business owners that we're working with, they're like, I feel so guilty for wanting more. Like, this should be enough, right? Some of them have crazy backgrounds. And so it's like, they should just be grateful. But what do you say to that when people are like, no, because you teach us to live an abundant life?
I think it's important to know what enough means to you. So I don't like putting a cap on my potential. I don't like putting a cap on my success. I don't like putting a cap on the amount of people I can serve. When you're operating through a lens still of this should be enough, I think it's a completely egotistical lens. I think it's selfish. I think that you're only thinking about yourself in that scenario. You're only thinking like, oh, this should be enough for me. Cool. What about everybody else? What about the more you grow, the more people you can add to your team and you can change their life? What about the people that you're serving and impacting? If you stop at enough, like, you're not able to truly impact more people. So then it just comes back to like, why do you believe the world revolves around you?
That is so good. I wasn't expecting that.
That's not the answer you were expecting?
No.
That's the one I'm giving today.
Oh gosh, y'all got lucky. I was not expecting that. Okay, so on that topic of people playing small in it, you're like doing a disservice, you're being selfish. What does it actually cost the people that you're meant to serve when you play small?
Yeah, I think of, something that comes to mind that happened recently with one of our VAs, Ira, is she messaged me and was like, oh my gosh, Steph, like, because of working for TWP, I can now get like the medical care that I need. And I'm just so grateful for this experience. And when she messaged us that, I was like, wow, remember when Stephanie Wigner used to want only 5 team members? If Stephanie Wigner stuck to that vision of only 5 team members, Ira wouldn't be on the team because it was going to be 5 US based employees. It was going to be, I had it very specific on the people that I wanted on the team. And I just think of if I would have kept playing small, because truthfully that limiting belief of like, I only want 5 people on the team was a limiting belief. It was because I didn't want to have to manage more people. It was because I was scared, truthfully, of what that was going to require of me to have more people on the team. And so I was like, oh, 5 is good enough. And then we grew so much that it warranted needing to really grow the team, because I can't be involved in every aspect. You can't be involved in every aspect. We just needed to bring different people on. And Ira was one of those where it's like, oh, she could help us really do a lot of the back end stuff that you're doing manually. And I just think of, if I would have kept myself in that box and kept that vision, I wouldn't have been able to impact Ira in this way. And so I think for a lot of us that have a life built around purpose and a life where we want to impact a lot of people, playing small is always going to cap that.
So good. And so when you talk about your vision kind of shifted is what I'm hearing from you. How do you do check-ins for your vision to shift, or like not just be moved through life and let life move you, but be like, okay, maybe my wants in life are a little bit different. Maybe I'm being called. How do you know when it's time for you to recalibrate and relook at the business and your personal life too? Because both of them are hand in hand.
I think once a quarter, I will sit down and really look at my life and be like, am I doing what I said I wanted to do? Am I getting closer to that big vision I have for my life? Am I spending my time the way that I want to? Am I working on the things that excite me the most? Am I really just living it out every single day? And if the answer for the life is yes, then I move on to the business and say, okay, is the business supporting the life I want to build? If the answer for life is no, like recently I just did this and it was like, no, I'm not spending my time. I'm spending too much time working. I'm spending too much time traveling. I'm spending too much time on aspects in the business that don't bring me joy. I need to find people to take those over. And so I wasn't living out the life vision or the business vision that I had originally had, because you grow and things shift and change and you get a little distracted and you get overwhelmed. And so it was like, okay, let me recalibrate. Let me look exactly at the life I want to build. It was like, I really love coaching. I love creating content, and I love speaking and then meeting other high level people that I can learn from. What is currently happening inside of my business that is preventing that from happening? And there was plenty of things that I was like, okay, now that I have a list of things that I have to remove off my plate, I now know who I have to hire to take over those things. I also know now what I have to cut, because they're not in my future vision. They're not in the way that I want to be spending my time 12 months from now. And then it's about recalibrating for the next quarter to make sure I get those things back in alignment.
Yeah, and that's so good. And I feel like, thinking back, would you say there was a breaking point of you to be like, okay, I have to recalibrate
I spent enough days not having fun in a row that I was like, well, what's this all for?
Yeah, that's so good.
And so I was like, well, I need to recalibrate and get recentered.
Yeah, and that makes me feel, and you say this all the time, is like life is happening for you, not to you. And
you have to have that discomfort and that sense of like, fuck, this kind of sucks. Like, I don't want to be doing this anymore, in order for you to take action. Because we don't take action when everything's good. We're like, oh, we're chugging along. We're like, life's good. When shit is so uncomfortable, that's when you take action. And so I really think a lot of what I've experienced over the last 6 to 9 months has been an opportunity to recalibrate. But if everything would have been feeling so good, then I wouldn't have had to do that. It wouldn't have been an invitation to rebuild and restructure some of the things that I want to do so that I can get to where I want to be.
And so that makes me think about the business owners that think they don't have a choice. They think, I have to keep doing this, that this is how it's always going to be, that this is always, I have to keep dragging my knuckles through this. What do you have to say to them?
Stop being a little bitch. Stop being a little, I mean, it's an excuse. It's like, okay, outsource your entire fucking life and all of your power to somebody else then. Because nothing's going to change if you don't change. Like 3 years from now, you're going to be in the same position, hating your life, hating your business, hating the people you serve, hating your team, hating your spouse, hating everything. Like nothing is going to change. So if you have a belief that this is how it has to be, nobody's going to be able to change that for you. And until you change the belief of like, there's an opportunity here because I am not happy, there's an opportunity to rebuild this in the way that's more aligned with me. But most people convince themselves that the rebuild is too hard, so they don't even take the first action towards it. And I just think of like, I personally don't want to be around those people that aren't interested in a rebuild, because I'm constantly rebuilding myself. I'm constantly rebuilding my brand, my messaging, my business, my team. Like, I do not want to be stagnant. Stagnant is where you die.
And so when you are thinking about rebuilding, do you view that as failure or just recalibration?
I just view it as recalibration. I really don't view much things in my life as a failure.
So good. And so when you're talking about the business life was you're working too much and feeding into that, it brings up the topic of like duality of life and motherhood. And so what are some of the things that you do with Jethro to just be super present?
We've really had like family game night every night now that summer kicked in, because it feels like we have just a little bit less responsibilities as a whole as summer. We get to have a little bit slower paced mornings, and so we can stay up a little bit later in the evening. And we have just been obsessed with games. So we've been obsessed with playing Trouble. He's just at such a fun age that it doesn't take much to be present. I feel like it's fun to be present with him right now. Whereas like, I feel like, 3 and under, being present is like actually making sure they stay alive. Like you're like, okay, I'm feeding you, I'm changing your diaper, I'm making sure that you're sleeping, I'm making sure that you're not like touching a light socket. Like that presence had a different pressure to it. I really feel like I'm stepping into an era that presence just gets to be fun. And it's also such a good mirror back to me of like, yeah, when you're having more fun in your life, everything's more fun. Business is more fun. Like even growing is more fun when you're having fun on a regular basis. And I think for game night, especially for Kyle and I, my husband, it's just been an opportunity to be like, to put work away and be like, let's just focus on something. And then being the family we are, we became so competitive at Trouble, but Jethro honestly kicks our butt like 8 out of 10 times. Being present though, for me, is about caring about what he cares about, which he's obsessed with Trouble. He's obsessed with Piggy. He's obsessed with playing in the pool. He's obsessed with playing baseball in the backyard. So if we're just present for those things, I find he's happier. And it's been kind of easier in this season than it has been prior.
And so just thinking through the last 6 months, you kind of traveled the most that I think you've ever, especially with having a child and being married. How do you balance the two? How do you balance the mindset of not being there, not being present, and also being so focused when you're in those moments?
Well, when I get to go away for a work trip or a mastermind or a speaking event, I mean, Mama loves it. She loves it.
No, it's always easier. It's easier for the
No,
dad
it's
who
literally easier to go on a work trip than it is to go on a family vacation. And if you disagree with me, like, let's fight about it, because it's 100% easier. The truth is though, I use those opportunities to like pour back into myself and like to get so excited about what I'm building. And if I don't have the space to do that, where I travel and go to a mastermind, or I travel and go speak at an event, then I start to get a little resentful that I'm doing all the things required, but not the things that are fun. And I've found that like making time for those is absolutely crucial to my own happiness, and my husband knows that, so he supports that. When it comes to traveling with our family, because we've also done that a lot, it absolutely has made work harder. Because again, when we're traveling as a family, I feel a pressure to be present, to be at the pool, to not be working, to not be checking Slack, to not be going on Circle and all of these things. And it has made the first half of the year, I would say, absolutely harder than it needed to be. But I think I was craving a break so much that I was like, I'm pre-booking all this shit. And in reality, I wasn't on a break. In reality, I wasn't like super present for all of them. There have been a couple trips we've taken where I've just been like, screw it. Like Memorial Day is amazing because all of our teams are out of office. We can just be present. July 4th, we were home, but it was like all of our teams are out of office. I said to Kyle the other day after July 4th, I was like, holy shit, babe, I actually feel rested come Monday. He's like, yeah, because our teams were off. I was like, wait a minute. Are we supposed to give our team more time off? Is that how the only way that we're going to get breaks? And I was like, no, we can't do that. We got to figure out something else.
We have to like schedule our Slacks too.
Yeah. I'm like, we got to figure out something else. But I do think there's something to be said about like, we never truly feel like we're off because team always has access to us. And so that's been a huge eye opener for me over the last 3 months of just even reorganizing my schedule recently and being like, hey, by the way, team, I'm not going to be available on these days. If I want to come in and be available, I will. Here's where you can expect me to be super present and available to you. Has already internally, I don't think anything changed for you guys, but in my own mind, I felt less pressure because I had communicated that.
Yeah, so you gave a permission slip.
Yeah.
And then it gave the team structure that so many people, when you have a big team, they crave structure. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to bother her. Here's what the expectations are. I'm going to follow through on them and then save them. And even Nikki on call was like, I'm going to save this for Thursday's call. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
Like the system's systeming.
Yeah.
So it's so good. And so when thinking through having a really big vision, how do you communicate your vision to Jethro? And like when you go on these trips and when you're working, like what do you talk to him about?
I usually just tell him, okay, mommy's going on a work trip and I'm going to go help people. because that's what he knows that I do. He knows that through our offices, even in that way. Like if Kyle has to go in for something or if I have to go in for a meeting, it's like, okay, we're gonna go in and help people. And he sees those because our offices are local, right? He also sees HQ. He sees what we're doing. He's like, are you going with your podcast guests or with your clients? Like he's starting to get it, which is really cool. But because I've included him in the vision so much, I think he feels it. I don't think it has to be explained as much, at least not yet, because I don't know that other than what he's experienced, he could actually intellectually understand. But I do think talking to him about it, and then I'll show him things too. So like he thinks it's cool that I have a YouTube channel. And so I'll be like, oh, look, Daddy was on the YouTube channel. And so we were like watching Kyle and I's podcast together. And he was like, that's so cool. And so again, he's very much a part of our life. So he's right alongside it. And I will say the older he's gotten, the harder it is to leave. That's why I purposely like cut a lot of trips short in July. It's why I don't like leaving for longer than 48 hours, even though internally maybe I want to, just internally myself as a mother, I don't want to, because it just feels like too long away at this stage of life, you know, just more than a couple of days. I've really haven't left him longer than 4 days, and Kyle is always with him when I do go on these work trips. And truthfully, I've been optimizing for bringing them more alongside. But again, that usually makes it harder. It usually complicates it. But there is a part of him getting to see it firsthand that makes him understand it better.
It's such a gift to bring him along for the ride, because he's going to, especially now that he's getting older, it's like these memories. He's going to understand like, oh, this is what it costs. Because they talk about generational wealth, building it like, at some point, that second generation doesn't see that they didn't put the reps in.
Yeah.
You're bringing him along the way. And I think that the lessons there of like, there's so much good in bringing your kids along for the ride and seeing how you and Kyle hustle so that they can also do that and build those bones.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we're struggling with right now is like this kid has no concept of money, which he's only 4. And he gets a lot of what he wants, truthfully, transparently. Like I want him to operate through the lens of abundance. I also want him to know how much hard work is required to live the life that we live. But like abundance is free. Like you wake up, it's beautiful, it's sunny out, the birds are chirping. Like that is truly abundance. It doesn't have anything to do with money. Now you can have an abundance of money as well. However, that doesn't come without doing the work for it. And so I might be trying to navigate that too early on in his life, but it's really important to me. I don't like saying no to things because of money, because I don't want to increase scarcity in his mind.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, then he thinks he can have whatever he wants whenever he wants. And I'm like, I don't really know how to navigate this. I'm probably gonna have to hire a parent coach or something to like tell me what's right. But I need an abundant one. I don't, you know, like I don't want somebody who's like, have boundaries. Like I totally understand boundaries. I also don't want to create limiting beliefs in my son that don't belong there.
Yes, and I think also just growing up with not much, you want to just give it to them. You're
Yeah.
like, fuck it, why not?
Of course.
I didn't have it, so
Yeah.
that, yeah, I'm not.
It's been
the person to ask.
interesting.
Oh, I run into the same problem. Okay, this is a little juicy question. Who has been the favorite role that you have hired for that has dramatically changed personal, business, life? All of them have a purpose, but the one that you felt the most, that people are not thinking about.
I honestly think it was like hiring the creative director, because I think, and again, this isn't going to resonate with everybody because most people would never need a creative director in their business. But for me, it was so important to pull me out of the doctor mentality, the professional mentality, and get back to like who I really am and sharing that part with the world. Like, yes, I'm a bougie bitch. Yes, I like nice things. Yes, I like nice clothes. Yes, I like helping people. Yes, I love living a life most people never would. And for a lot of years, I knew that internally, but I didn't express that. And so I think the creative director has done a really great job of pulling more of who I am out. And as we've seen, that has attracted people and it's repelled people.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of people who have gotten triggered by that. And it's not about like the nice things. It's about the fact that like, I will just say what's top of mind. I will live my life in a way that's not meant to be understood by you. Like she just has been like, okay, that's what makes you unique. She's reflected back to me a lot because she's worked with a lot of different coaches in the industry. And she's like, nobody's doing that. What are you talking about over there? I've paid 500 coaches and not one of them has told me what you've told me. And I think not only that combination with pulling out more of who I am and being able to showcase that through like my styling and the way that I do shoots and things like that, but also a permission slip and like a reflection back to me, like you are one of one, Stephanie Wigner. And so you just need to accept that instead of trying to like always be so relatable.
Yes, 100%. I think that I saw that what was internal become external, and like, what is a creative director? Because a lot of people don't know what that is.
I mean, I don't even know what it is. It's like,
I just feel like she is pulling from the soul of who Stephanie Wigner is inside that you didn't even know and putting her on the outside.
yeah. And
like,
doing that through different lenses, like right through the styling or through storytelling or through specific shoots, you know, like I think I would have went on doing boring shoots of like, here's my new headshots for the year. Yeah. And it was like, but that didn't excite me anymore.
No.
And it was like, okay, I need to be excited by the process. Mm-hmm. I need to fall in love with creating content. I need to fall in love with putting myself out there. I need to fall in love with showing the world more of who I am so that they can experience the depth of who I am. Mm-hmm. And I think it would have taken much longer without her.
Oh, 100%. And well, one, I was not expecting that answer. I thought she was going to say your private chef, honestly.
Oh.
But the creative director was a good one. She's been fantastic for our team. And I feel like when you made that decision a year ago, because it was almost a year ago, it was like you were deciding from a future version of yourself, right?
Totally. Because I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. I don't need this. Like, this is not going to have a direct return.
Yeah.
I knew, though, the internal return would be worth it.
Mm-hmm. And so what do you mean by that?
So it's not like when I hired her, I was like, okay, revenue has to grow by this much. I got to get this many more likes on a post. I got to like whatever. I wasn't thinking of it through that lens of metrics. I was thinking of it through the lens of like, who am I going to become through this process? And am I willing to invest in that? And my answer for that 99% of the time is always going to be yes. And I absolutely acted before I was ready, before I felt that I needed it. I honestly didn't even think I needed it. I was like, girl, I'm not like the rest of the people you necessarily work with. Like, I've already been successful. I'm just now telling the world who I am. Mm-hmm. And she was like, exactly. I want to help you tell the world who you are. Mm-hmm. And it's really been a fun process. I've had a ton of fun. I think of like when we were in Naples at the retreat there, just shooting with her and Tobes and like our content team. It was like, we had so much freaking fun. We were running in the ocean. We were splashing around. We're getting photos. They're hyping me up. Like, it honestly was one of the most fun times that I've had this year when I think of like work. Mm-hmm. And it's also allowed me to pull like work and fun into something.
Yes, that was such a good time.
Yeah.
And like going back, and I'm like, those are the moments when I think you talk about business should be fun. It's like we should have more of those. It's like we're laughing, we're having fun, and we're still doing it. We're still moving the mission forward. It was still a retreat, but it's so fun. It doesn't have to always feel like
so serious.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she brings out a really fun side of you. It just makes you laugh. Like, you just can't be really mad at her either.
No, you can't. She's impossible to be mad at.
Something. I'm like, just you always. Okay. And so to leave the listeners off with, the last thing is like, when you are making decisions, you are acting as if what goes through your mind of investments that you're making, decisions that you're making, team that you're adding. How do you make those decisions as your future self now? One,
it's not that hard because I know what my vision is and I know where I'm going. I think when people don't know how to act as their future self, it's because they don't have a destination. We know that we never get to a destination, but they don't have an end goal or a North Star that they're working towards. So it's really hard to make decisions as if you're already that person. For me, I know what I'm setting out to do. I know what I want to accomplish. I know who I want to become. And so I just ask myself, like, is this going to get me closer to where I want to be in 3 years from now? If the answer is yes, I do it. It's never about price. It's never about, do I have time for it? It's never about how doable, how feasible is this? Like, it's always about, is this going to get me closer to who I want to be? If the answer is yes, then I move. If the answer is I don't know, then I sit down and ask, what do I hope to gain out of this? Like, what do I hope to learn? Because even like when I think about not only investing in yourself, like investing in terms of actually investing and setting yourself up for wealth, a lot of that I don't know. So I pay people to help me with that. And I've learned so much over the last 10 years. I talk all the time about how we've actually learned more from the money we've lost investing than the money that we've made through investing. However, I want to learn. I'm an avid learner. I will pay to learn 100 different things because I know I'm the ROI. I know that my brain is literally what prints me money for breakfast. And so I'm constantly going to pour into that. It's like soil. I'm constantly watering the soil because of who I want to become and how smart I want to become and how agile and like strategic. And so I'm constantly going to pay for that. And there's no cap to that.
And so if someone wants to figure out who that future version self is, what's their first step? Would you say figuring out what their vision is?
Yes, figuring out what their vision is, sitting down and writing what you want, and then being really fucking honest with yourself about what you're currently doing that's not going to get you there. So easiest example ever is like, oh, I want to be a world-class business owner, or I want to be a super present mom. Look at your behavior and how often are you spending scrolling Instagram? Is that getting you closer to a world-class business owner? Is it getting you closer to a present mom? Is it getting you closer to what you want to say? You want to have six-pack abs by December. Look at your current reality and look at your behavior. Are you eating donuts? Are you walking 10,000 steps a day? Are you consuming enough water? Are you taking vitamins? Like, what is it? And can you be like, here's where I'm dropping the ball? I think people are so scared of being hard on themselves. They're so scared of being honest about what they're actually wasting time and energy on and where they suck.
Yep.
And if they would just get honest about where they suck, they would have an opportunity to completely improve it. But they will not admit that they suck. I admit that I suck all the time, probably to the default the other way. Like my baseline is like, girl, you could do better. And so I have to be careful with that because it could turn really toxic really fast. I have to like really sit and like honor myself and remind myself what I'm proud of and like look at how far I've come, because my default is like, fuck that. That could be better. Do it better next time. I think most people don't operate that way.
Yeah, why do you think that?
Because they're accepting mediocrity. They're accepting average and normal and baseline. And in today's day and age, we're all told that we're unique, beautiful unicorn flower children, and like you get participation trophies and it's good enough.
Yeah. And so it's on you to set the standard. And even if no one else has in your life. You
get to set the standard. Like I think of you.
Yeah.
Like you didn't probably have many standards for much growing up, right? And so, but being around people with really high standards, you were like, well, shit, I want high standards.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do these things differently. I want to live a life that's better than just average, you know? And so again, it doesn't have to be like you have a business and this is how you can lead an above average life and you can have an extraordinary life by all accounts. It doesn't matter that you have to go make trillions of dollars to do that. It's just like, look around, and is everything you're doing average? Just be okay then with living an average life and getting to your deathbed and saying, hey, it was good enough.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you decide. For me, sounds like hell.
Facts. And I think a lot of people want an extraordinary life but aren't willing to be extraordinary honest with themselves and like call out on those actions. It's not a place of shame. It's just, here's where it was.
Here's the truth.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to shame spiral. I'm not asking you to beat yourself up. I'm asking you to be radically honest with yourself. And most people can't do that.
Yeah. Well, now is the time. This is their permission slip.
This is your permission slip. Sit down, get really honest with yourself, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.